Hey there, it's Jack Murray here, and this is the first episode of 7 Deadly Sins. This is going to be my podcast / video show where I discuss all things metal. Alright, so with this first episode, let me just pull up my notes real quick. This first episode is going to be discussing Lamb of God. They are an American death metal band / groove metal band based out of Richmond, Virginia. They were founded in 1996 under the name Burn the Priest, but after several lineup changes, as well as the fact that many venues weren't going to allow them to play shows there. One notable event was in California. It actually got the band on the news. They changed their name from Burn the Priest to Lamb of God and came out with their debut album under that name, New American Gospel. That was in 2000. Since then, they have put out several studio albums. Let's see here. New American Gospel, As the Palaces Burn, Ashes of the Wake, Sacrament, Wrath, Resolution, and their latest album, VII, Sturn und Drang. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Anyways, so primary topic of discussion in this video is going to be, of course, their latest album, VII, Sturn und Drang. Alright, so a lot of people are pissed off about this album. Like right out the get-go, one of the singles off of it pissed off a lot of long-time fans. And that was because of this song, Overlord, which I will actually play a little bit of in the background instead of what is this, Carcass. Let's see here. Anyways, though, as I was saying, the song Overlord off the new album angered a lot of people because it's not classic Lamb of God style. It's not Lamb of God's, established fan favorite sound. It actually is mostly singing, mostly clean vocals, not the but more of the, it has a very Alice in Chains type sound, I'm not the one who's so far away, Godsmack, Alice in Chains sort of sound. And this pissed off a lot of fans because Lamb of God has always been a very, very heavy band. Now, this song is actually about domestic abuse. In the music video they show, there's actors in the music video that are husband and wife, and they're fighting in front of their kid, they're beating each other up, and it's just awful. That's what the song's mostly about. Now, this album is a lot more emotional than some of their previous albums, and it harkens back to the old New American Gospel days, with songs like Letter to the Unborn being off of New American Gospel, and songs such as 512 on this album, and as well as Overlord. Now, 512 and Still Echoes have very heavy political sentiments behind them, but as well as a lot of emotion. And they have a very personal feeling despite the political topic. Now, this is due in part because in 2012, the lead singer Randy Blythe was arrested for manslaughter in the Czech Republic. Now, while he was exonerated, basically the case notes were that a fan was at a show, his fan was jumping up on stage, and Randy basically pushed him off stage a couple times, and he sustained some injuries, and a few days later he lapsed into a coma. About 2 weeks after falling into that coma, he died. Now, while this is very unfortunate to hear, nobody in the metal community believed that it was Randy's fault, and but the Czech Republic was pressing charges against him. And so he was in prison when he got off a plane from Czech. He got placed in prison, and he was there for about 2 months. And so the songs Still Echoes and 512 are based heavily off of his time in the Czech Republic, his time in prison. Still Echoes is far more political, discussing, the Eastern Bloc and the wars for democracy and communism. While 512 is much more personal and reflects more along the lines of his personal experience in jail, I'll start playing 512. But with lyrics such as 6 bars laid across the sky, 4 empty walls to fill the time, 1 careless word, you lose your life, a grave new world awaits inside, we get an idea of what it's like to be imprisoned in a foreign country, especially a foreign country where you are guilty until proven innocent. Now, speaking on his time in prison, however, Randy did say that it was a much different experience for him than it would be for most people, considering he is a famous musician. And a lot of prisoners and guards were asking for his autographs and asking to just get to know him and Lamb of God. So, his prison experience isn't necessarily reflective of the typical one. However, he still did encounter situations where he was worried he was going to lose his life. And where, he learned that basically in prison, you do as you're told unless you're capable of being the toughest guy in there. And so he kept his nose down and just stayed out of trouble while he was there until he got out. Went back for trial despite the Justice Department's wishes, because he felt that it was the honorable thing to do, was to appear at trial. He wanted to give the parents of the kid who died some answers, some closure, the best that he could do. And he went over there, he did that, and he was exonerated by a Czech Republic jury. Now, this album is fantastic. It is an amazing album. It is very technical compared to some other previous records. Much more meaningful, and has several bonus tracks, as 2 of which are live recordings, one of the new song Still Echoes and one of their classic song Ruin. Now, these are fantastic tracks. I highly recommend this album to anybody. Another great Lamb of God album is, if you're just trying to get into them or just trying to get into death metal, try out Sacrament, their 2006 album. It's has very religious overtones to it, but it's a very relatable track. It's very fun to listen to. So I hope you enjoyed this installment in 7 Deadly Sins. This is Jack Murray signing off. Stay metal, my friends.